Then we'll call this meeting to order at 11:02 on Wednesday, April 10th, 2024, here to discuss the Murray water well testing on Shoshone County property. Commissioner Zimmerman, you've been probably the most up to date on this. What do we need to do here?
Okay, in order to move forward, the water district needs to do some tests to ensure that the properties that we have will generate water for a well. So we need to just allow them to, okay them to start the testing. And once they get the testing done and there is sufficient water where they can draw water from it, we can move forward into leasing that. But there's no sense into leasing something that may not be there. So I believe that's all we need to do is just approve them to be able to move forward to start testing. And it's going to be a while for them to be able to test.
And you guys are clear on which properties now. Jessica worked with you.
Yeah. So I'm here. I'm with DEQ. The Water Association, Steve Hale, who's been here before, and Rosie Gonzalez, they weren't available. So we're all hands on deck with this. And she did clarify with me where we had originally talked about the right-of-way near that parcel by the courthouse. It's not available because it would be landlocked, and then I think reviewed that. And then she did talk about that other right-of-way that had been discussed as an option. The other thing, just to carry past what Jeff said, we also need to consider conditional approval for entering into lease, because it's an engineering component with a hydrogeologic study. It's not just testing. So for us to evaluate it and consider if they have to be, if they are approved by DEQ, we would want some certainty for the association that the county is willing to enter into a lease agreement. So what we would be asking is a conditional approval of lease agreement for any of these parcels that may prove to be sustainable for water.
And do you have those parcel numbers?
I've got just kind of our correspondence map. It's not that Jesse Herndon with HMH had them before. Got that. And there's on the. Yeah.
Well, there's one, but there were supposed to be three.
So there's a parcel number, and this is the parcel number of this one here. And then these are the right-of-ways. So, how would we describe that legally? It wouldn't be a parcel number to make an action on. It'd be this right-of-way and that right-of-way.
South or north of parcel number such and such, probably.
Yeah. And
isn't there a third one?
So there's this parcel, this right-of-way, and this right-of-way. But the right-of-way that's here, the concern is that it would landlock these parcels.
Yeah, but we're still testing this little piece behind the courthouse.
Correct. We want to evaluate if that's an option.
And we want to evaluate this right away.
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought Jessica indicated the third right away was down here to the west.
Okay, so maybe it's not. I don't have the full map, and that was just from. It's to the west, so that's why I was putting that arrow. HMH had provided that in previous. So I think a description would be helpful. But we won't want the Murray Water Association to put in such an effort unless there's some certainty that they'd be able to lease the property too.
And I think, and Commissioner Zimmerman, correct, jump in here anywhere you want, but I think we've all indicated that we're willing to consider leasing any of these.
Thing in my discussions with legal was,
and we've talked it over with legal, and it would be a 30-year lease. So, and we're all pretty much it'll work that way. So I would motion to approve this on a condition that they meet the water requirements. Is that what you want? Or the condition that we lease it?
Condition for them to move forward, because there's no sense unless we have the pre-approval or conditional use for the lease option.
So we would need a motion for conditional approval of a lease agreement. But then I'm trying to figure out how to identify on one of the following three
Right.
parcels, and we're struggling with numbers for those.
Yeah,
right
how
away
to
don't have
identify,
numbers.
because we right-of-ways don't have numbers. We have the legal description for the parcel. You know, if
And this parcel is which one?
this is that one,
That's the courthouse?
yeah, right next to it. So
Yeah. So, Jeff, I guess, and Tracy, my concern is how do we identify these right-of-ways that don't have, I mean, one parcel has a number, the other two are right-of-ways. One of them could be described as the right-of-way to the east or west of, and give a parcel number. The
I think
third,
that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
the third one is the mystery. I don't know how to
Oh, the one that's
describe.
down
is
here.
this one, yeah.
I don't know how to
And
describe
then
this third one.
How we describe this third one over
I guess
here.
we could say the right of way to the south of parcel.
Yeah.
Would that work?
Yeah.
Let me, so what we need is a conditional approval for a lease agreement, conditional based on their test results for one of the following three parcels. So I'm going to entertain I'm going to try this. I'm going to entertain a motion for a conditional approval of lease agreement based on the results of the testing for, and I'll, the clerk can enter the whole number in, but the parcel ending in 2001 Alpha, Pritchard Creek Street, the right of way immediately to the west of parcel ending in 13001 Bravo, which is known as 6436 Pritchard Creek Street, and the right of way to the south, immediately to the south of parcel ending in 100120, also known as 6406 Pritchard Creek Street.
Okay.
Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
So moved?
So moved.
I'll second.
Second, would that suit your purpose?
And just to clarify, they do need 2 well sites. So if there's does this consider if 2 of the 3 work, is that also the option, the potential for lease agreement on 2 sites?
Yeah, because we're given conditional approval
Conditional
for all
approval.
3.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, if we end up needing 2, I think that would do it. All right, we have a motion, we have a second, and you can get the whole parcel numbers out of this thing. She has the hard part of making it make sense. Okay, any further discussion from you, Commissioner Zimmerman?
No.
Commissioner Cassidy?
No.
Okay, then we'll take it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimously carries. Okay, so that should give you everything you need to move forward with testing.
And just, as background, we would entertain, you've heard in our discussions, and Jeff and I have talked at length, and Tracy and I have talked, that we like to see the lease of the lifetime of the well, of course, but DEQ would entertain a waiver. These are sites that Murray can find as producers. So, but
Okay.
thank you very much.
All right.
Good news for them.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Commissioner Zimmerman, I'll let you go.
Okay.
We're
All right,
adjourned.
thank you.